Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus Coleus. Finally, most of the smoke is cleared here in New Jersey. We really got hit hard with that forest fire smoke. 2 nights ago, it was you couldn't stand outside. It was so bad. It was like being right next to a fire. It's bad. So, but it's clear. It's actually clear. It's Friday after late morning. It's clear, sunny. It's a nice cool breeze. Really beautiful day for the Coleus. Actually, yesterday wasn't too bad. You can actually stay outside. It wasn't bad, but you could see it was very hazy up. But yesterday, I went to a dollar store at another town further from me that I bought some pots from a few years ago, and I remember they had some of those fluted pots, and boy was I happy when I got there, because they had so many fluted pots and other pots that I really needed, and I was able to get them on sale as well. So I picked up 20 pots, and I could have gotten more, but you have to know where to draw the line. So there's always next year. So I picked up 20 pots, and yesterday it was just so nice out yesterday. I'm like, I hadn't planned on doing any potting yesterday, but did I pot? And wait till you see these Coleus. They are just every day more and more. It really makes a difference when you get your Coleus into pots or in the ground. They really need a place to spread out and so forth. And then now, at this point now that they're starting to grow, I'm going to trim. Trimming is very important, and fertilizing. Even though there's shake and feed fertilizer in the soil, that I find I get much better results every 2 weeks, every 10 days when I use the mixable Miracle Grow. I put the Miracle Grow mixed food in here, and I water and feed with this. It really makes a difference. It's water soluble, it gets into the roots, into the soil. It really makes a big difference. And I only do it every 10 days, 2 weeks or so. You don't want to burn your plants, but at this point I never had any problems with this. I never had any burned plants. So let me show you how my greenhouse is just bursting at the seams. Like I could barely move in here. So let's go take a look. Since my neighbor cut, if you're following along, you know where I'm going with this. There used to be a huge tree that covered this whole area here, and ever since they cut that tree down, I get light in my greenhouse, and it's so beneficial. So I'm really excited, because as much as I hate to see trees getting cut down and so forth, it's it really benefits my greenhouse. It just lights everything up. So here's a little quick look in the entrance. You can see all these fluted pots. Remember the beginning of the season, I had just little trays and it looked like nothing really, and I had mentioned it's 2 Coleus per little pot, and after a while when they start to grow, then you really see how many Coleus you actually have. And again, that's my St. Bernard puppy correlation. Aren't these beautiful? They're really filling out. And the farmer's market starts in 2 weeks, and I expect these to be not double, but at least a third bigger, or more. They may double. I don't know. It really depends. I mean, they're getting a really good light in here, and the conditions have been perfect. It's been warm and a little cool, but that's really good. Those are good conditions for the Coleus. So I ended up potting all of my hanging baskets. I got a case of 10 hanging baskets. These aren't bad because they don't take up a lot of soil. And I have to make different considerations. I mean, I do the farmer's market. It's not about making money, but also I have to make a little bit of money because I donate the money. And I don't even want to really talk about the profit aspect. I do this to help teach people how to grow Coleus and find enjoyment, maybe spark an interest and get a hobby or something, and just give people hope that they can do something like this, because these are so easy to grow. And of course, I donate. I make it a point to donate to organizations every month, and I just finished a small donation to USO, on my Instagram page, and I have, or the American Cancer Society rather, and I have one on for the USO ongoing, and each month we'll do a little something different. So, but yesterday I picked up 6 fluting pots. They only had blue and purple, which beggars can't be choosers. They had a whole bunch of these green and yellows. I didn't pick up any more because I have enough. And I could always go back. I may go back to the store and clean them out. We'll see what happens, because they say they get plenty of them in. So, because I had mentioned to the store clerk that, you know, I don't want to take everything. He says, don't worry about it. We get plenty of these. Don't worry about it. So, you know, I might take him up on his offer. Now, what they did have a whole bunch of, I mean, they had at least 50 pots, are these. In 2 sizes. They had these smaller ones. So I put some really tiny. I did a lot of potting yesterday, another 8 hours straight. I mean, I took a break here and there, but straight potting. They had these little, smaller metal, and again, I drill all your pots need drain holes, so I drilled 2, which this really only needed 1, but I drilled 2. And they also have these, which are a little bigger, which I've had in the past. This is actually an old one, so here's a new one down here. Here's all the new ones. All right, so yeah, this is an older one. It says garden. This one is a flower garden. And I potted the remainder of my Wizard Rose. And these are really neat, and they do well, even though they're metal. But these are perfect, these Wizard Rose, because they're not meant to sit in baking hot sun. They're meant to sit on a windowsill or on a table that gets a little bit of sun. So these are ideal. And again, if you're following along, I mentioned I'd like to have an array of different size Coleus pots for different people. These make perfect gifts if you have your grandmother or your mom. You want to give a nice little simple gift that really hits home. This is perfect, and that's what I do. I have so many beautiful pots here, and there's so much time left to grow, and there's so much here I can't possibly bring it all to the farmer's market, and nor do I want to, and nor do I plan to. So you can see I have quite a bit. These are really filling out well. What a great statement. Don't they make a great, and I'll display them at my farmer's market like that, and they really catch eyes. Bought a bunch of these. They had a whole bunch of these yesterday too, and I like these because they're really cost effective. When I say cost effective, 2 for $1. They grow pretty well in these, and they're plastic, and of course I drilled drain holes in them. So they had a whole bunch of these. I think I took like 8, but again, I'm gonna head back to the store and pick up a lot more. Isn't that beautiful? It's like a rustic, and that's a Kong. It has more of the black, sort of like a scarlet with the red in the center. Really striking. Okay, for purposes of one of the videos, here's a hanging basket. This is going to fill out wonderfully. You just wait. Follow along. You just wait and see in another week or 2 how this fills out. You won't really see any soil on these. I try not to mess with these hanging baskets too much. I mean, these are pretty good. I got these at the Greenhouse Supply, Mega Greenhouse Supply. So these are pretty well. These are pretty strong hanging baskets. Some of the cheaper dollar store ones I stay away from because they're really flimsy and the handles break, and that's a disaster. But you can see, as I always mention, I try to always include some jitters in my hanging basket because they just are perfect. This is a beautiful, beautiful Coleus. This is going to grow to be a fabulous hanging basket. I just, you know, I look at these, and you know, when I finish every year and I finish making up my pots, you know what really saddens me is that I can't keep them all. I want to keep them. I really do. I wish I lived I wish I lived somewhere like Florida or whatever, where I can keep them all for myself. But I have a purpose for them. And back there, my rosy dawns, you could see my solar, my moon dust. These are moon dust. These are really starting to kick in back there. And I've yet to really decide what to do. I have an idea what I'm doing with them, but I have to get to those. And I have I believe I have 3 trays left. And those are the ones that I sell at the farmer's market. Just a grab and go, $2 a piece or whatever. And is the Defiance. You can see it's already how it's filled out a lot. And that's going to kick in more. Eventually, I'm waiting for these to get a little more established, and then I'll put them outside. These I keep along my driveway, along the base of my house. But I'm waiting for them to get a little more established. The roots are more established. And you can see it got some growth coming in on that fish net. So it's alive, it's doing all right. I mean, it's not perfect, but it will fill in. This will be a huge plant by the end of the season. And there's another tray. So it's basically the Kongs. I just have some scarlets and Kongs and some basic greens. And you can see I already started trimming some of these. I was touching on before, I can't bring everything to the farmer's market every week. So obviously, my opening day, I'm going to bring the fullest, as many as I can. I may bring an extra table and set up 2 tables the first week. But that's the whole thing. Obviously, these aren't going to be at the first sale. These aren't, these smaller ones. These will be in maybe 2 or 3 weeks or a month from now. So here we go. Here's that mosaic. Excuse the neighbors. There's always, if I had to wait for landscapers to not cut grass, I would never be able to film a YouTube video for the rest of my life here. So that's beautiful, isn't it? It's got a nice pink mix. It's a beautiful mosaic. And here's a wizard, one of the wizard rows. These are pretty delicate, so these are, I put these in the smaller pots because they grow slow, and they're very delicate, and they're not really meant to, they're not a hardy Coleus. They're not like the Kong. I mean, they're a Kong. They're in the Kong family, but they're in the Kong family, but they're just not, they're very delicate. As opposed to these, the Empires, like these Empires, the Kong Reds, is a Kong Red, Empires, Kong Reds, Jitters, Scarlets, those are real hardy. Defiance, hardy. They can withstand that sun. So these are going to fill out. We're just waiting, keeping them down here. I gave them a good shot of water yesterday. And next week I'm going to give them some fertilizer. And here's a Terrania. Look at the Terrania. Already we're getting flower buds. That's going to be really, really healthy. I have another one. We'll get to that. That's even better. And there's a tray of the smaller ones. And I'll give some of those away as well. Where's that other Terrania? These are really, really nice. I love these small pots. They're easy to transport, number one. They don't take up a lot of space, and people go for them. Here we go. Here's that other Terrania. I just trimmed this. See how it's kind of going over towards the other Terrania, so we'll have to trim that. But this is flowering already. It's ready to flower. I've been keeping these in sun. Yesterday, as I potted, I brought a lot of the flowering ones, like these Terranias, out. And this is a neat little pot. So I have a lot of work every day. I need to come in here. I know they're all well watered yesterday, so I'm gonna skip today. I'll have the fan going. It's not really hot today. It's beautiful out, and it's cool, which is really beneficial for these two. As much as the heat is, it's nice that these get a little bit of a break, especially seeing I just potted most of these, and that kind of the heat, the stress of the heat. So this kind of 70s, it's 80 in here, but again, it's a cool breeze coming in, so it's really overall beneficial. I'm sorry that all of these aren't really showing up. I don't want to move them all. But I like these hanging baskets because they don't take up a lot of soil. They're well made, and I got them for a decent price where I can sell them at a profit. So, and I got all green this year. I have one white one. I think I had that hanging in my yard. But I went with all green this year. If I had the choice to go half and half, I would have gotten half white, 5 green, but they didn't have that option available. It was all green or all white, so we went with the green this year. But what do you think? Grab up a couple of Coleus, get a hanging basket, put some potting mixture in there. You don't have to drill drain holes. These have the drain holes. These actually have the water tray on the bottom, so these are really good. For the money, these are really good. And throw in 3. Remember to put them in the openings and let them grow. And before you know it, you're gonna have this fabulous hanging basket such as this. It's one of my best ones. And actually I kept it for myself. I didn't sell it, but I did sell a bunch. Again, they don't sell as well as pots, and again, it may be because people don't have, not everybody has a place to hang, but you can actually cut these if you need to, or put them on the ground. But, you know, I mean, that really sort of defeats the purpose. So we're just letting nature do its course, of course, with a little help from Dad here. Here's some more hangers. Not too much water. I skip a day or two. Again, it depends. There's times now when we get into the summer months, when the heat does kick in eventually, I may have to water every day. Not necessarily these, but the smaller ones. But with the fan going and the high heat, if it gets 90 plus in here with the doors and windows open, get a lot of evaporation. The wind, the air movement from the fan increases that, so I have to really watch, especially these, so I can actually water. The trays have holes in them, so they're not going to hold water, but I make sure that I get all of these well watered enough, and even if they do dry one day, it's not going to kill them. You'd have to really skip just skip days on end where they're going to die. But you can see you got growth coming in. I trimmed these already. There's that Saturn variation. So I have a little of everything. Just a crimson gold. Isn't that neat? That's a jitters variation right there. I don't have too many of those. But what a beautiful, beautiful Coleus. Okay, everybody, so thanks for following along. I like to update everybody every week because that's how exciting that's how fast these develop, and you know, it's again I mentioned it seems like it's every day. I come in and I'm like, wow. And then tomorrow again, the weekend, I have to work this weekend, so I work nights, so I get up, I check the greenhouse, make sure I may touch a little, might give a little bit of water. It really depends. I don't see these needing water. Maybe some of the smaller ones, but that's really the routine that I do. I know what I have now. I'm done with my potting now at this point. Next week when I'm off, Monday or Tuesday, weather permitting, I'm gonna bring everything out. It's a lot of work. Everything out on the table. I'm going to give them the fertilizer. I'm going to go over everything and start trimming those that need it. There's some that are way too small still, but there are some that are large enough that trimming's going to bring them out. So if I see a lot of undergrowth coming in, I'm going to start trimming them, making sure that, you know, like the Terrania here, this sort of is starting to get in the way. That type of maintenance trimming, and see what happens, and continue go and look forward to the opening of the farmers market. So thanks for following along, everybody. Really appreciate it. This is the best time of year, and as I approach the end of June, I have to say goodbye to these wonderful, beautiful Coleus. So all right, thanks for following, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be here. We'll be back with another video shortly. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.